So this week, I've noticed a huge shift in myself that I have been working on for a long time. And it feels like I've been working on this for over a year and probably my whole life. It's one of these action points in my life that I have been working on. And it's not just for myself, it's for me, my clients, my family. This understanding of prosperity consciousness. Like, what is the frequency of prosperity and abundance? What does it mean? Not in this thinking mental realm, but in this energetic, open to receiving realm, having it be something that is easy and effortless to create in our lives. And it's one of these things that I know that we're all capable of having, and that there is unlimited and infinite resources. Like, there's this deep knowing that I have that anything is possible and all resources and possibilities are available to us. We just need to tune into that frequency. And that's one of the reasons I named the show Receptive Radio, your tuning station, is just to help us tune in to higher frequencies, higher level octaves of understanding. Because in the general mainstream and where we have been coming from, like where we're evolving from, we have to think bigger. We have to get into higher states of consciousness to evolve. Like, even if I was to talk like from a shamanic perspective, we need to alter our states of consciousness to see differently, to see from a different perspective. So this week I had and it's not just this week. I've been having these types of experiences my whole life, it feels like. These awarenesses, these different perspectives that have come up. And it's part of my jam. It's part of what I love. It's part of who I am. I love transformation. And I always want to grow. I'm on a growth path. Growth is the mission of my life. And I love to help other people develop and grow. And if I'm not growing, I feel bored. I feel stagnated. I feel depressed, even if I'm not growing. Doesn't mean that I'm not into integration and processing and all that kind of stuff. I don't have to be growing every minute of the day, but I feel like this prosperity consciousness, this frequency of prosperity, because even now I've shifted from prosperity consciousness to it's a frequency, it's a vibration, it's a vibe. And this week I gave a talk. I was on a summit, and I've been on this summit with this particular host, the Symposium Summit, and it's still happening. It's still happening today if you'd like to get into it. But it was a new talk. I gave a new talk, and I prepared this talk back when I applied for the summit, called Walk Your Talk. And I knew that I had this sense that, okay, I have to line up with this topic, like walk your talk. I have to be aligned with that topic. And I was. When I gave the talk, of course, I don't use slideshows. And I had my notes, my cue notes written out. I had them written out. I wrote them out multiple times. I knew my talk, but then I gave myself permission to receive the talk, because this particular audience might need to hear certain tweaks or differences or stories for it to land and to resonate. And what I noticed that was different is this frequency of alignment with prosperity. And I'm not just talking about money when I say prosperity. I'm talking about access to unlimited resources, access to confidence, access to clarity, to focus, to support systems that aren't necessarily like visible. And so when you can tune into a frequency like that, when you start to talk about what you want to talk about, it just comes naturally, and it lines up. And one of the other things that I really kind of realized while I was doing the talk is that it was talking about all of myself. It was the first time I actually inserted like a credibility. Who am I? Who the hell am I to talk about this? Like, why do I know this? Kind of part of the signature speech. And really stepping into like, yeah, I have a CPA. Yeah, I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I looked at their books. I've felt their problems. I helped them solve their problems. I have 20 years experience doing that. And there was a time when I've switched from letting that career go to coming into this purpose career. That was kind of like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. And I was cutting it off. I wasn't embracing all of the skills and all of the dedication that I put into that, and all of the knowledge and wisdom that I had earned through experience and working one-on-one with people that I had gathered into my field and into my experience and wisdom, and that I can pass along. And so I really stepped into that a bit more in this talk. And I really stepped into, at the same time, I've been cultivating this spiritual, shamanic, personal development path in my life for even longer than I was doing the CPA career. And that I can have both legs in both worlds and be this effective leader who's helping leaders to step into their power, even bigger than they were before. And owning it, like just stepping into that ownership of it. So this is like this prosperity frequency that I've been unraveling for over a year, and feeling like I had to give up, feeling like I wasn't going to figure it out, that it wasn't happening for me, or that I was appearing, like when you're developing your skills and your talents and your energy to go towards something new. I had been cutting off an arm that was a big significant part of it, that was really a key piece to helping me move forward. And I feel like I've kind of gathered that now. I feel lined up with it now, and more aligned with the frequency of prosperity. And prosperity comes with its other side. It comes with its other side, which is scarcity. And that frequency has been predominant in my life, that there's not enough. Like there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough opportunities. Everyone else is doing it. I might as well give up. And maybe you can relate with that frequency. Maybe that is something that has come up for you lately as you're stepping into your purpose powerfully. These things are coming up into our realm of Vista so that we deal with them, because it's an old paradigm model, and it may have worked once before. This model of scarcity and hustling and pushing and forcing and ruling with fear, it may have worked before. I just said that as like when I was at the firm, this old paradigm is like, get them to do things out of fear. Like if they fear that they're going to get fired, they're going to do it. If they fear that they're going to be reprimanded, they're going to do it. That is such an old paradigm, and it is being burnt down to the ground right now because everyone is sick of tolerating it. But it holds that frequency of scarcity. And so even if we don't want to like partake in that frequency anymore, it's been imprinted and implanted into us It's been said to us so many times, it's deep in our subconscious that it is the ruling operating system. Similar to like using Windows or Apple, like if you're a Windows person, you're addicted to Windows. If you're an Apple person, you're addicted to Apple. Like you love how these things work. And that's very similar to what I'm talking about here is like, if you are a prosperity mindset person, a prosperity frequency person, you kind of are operating on that system already. But if you have been operating on the scarcity model your whole life, and then your family was doing it before you, and their family was doing it before you, and like all of those paradigms from the past are coming forward through our upbringing, through our imprinting, there's work that has to be done. And I'm so grateful right now that I decided to do that work. I decided to take it seriously, and I went deep into, prosperity investigation, scarcity investigation within myself to see where it is and why it created certain patterns in me, spending and saving and investing and going into debt patterns, and why I chose what I chose. And now when you can see it from another perspective, I chose it to get to here, to get where I am now. And all of the unraveling, unwinding, transforming of those shadow sides of scarcity, all of the feelings of not being good enough, all of the feelings of having to prove myself, of performing, of being prepared, like, or being organized even, or being ready. Those are all ways that were part of the scarcity model that I was living in. Maybe you have ways that you have been living that are part of that old scarcity model, and they've been coming up for you lately, like they keep appearing, kind of like a flashcard that's like waving at you. You don't know why you keep running into the same problem or the same pattern keeps coming up. Is because it's ready. It's so ready to be transformed. It's ready to be let go. It's ready to be worked on and released. And it's not easy to do on your own. I had multiple people guiding me and helping me to see the blind spots that I couldn't see. And it's when you go forward and do things that are edgy, that are a little bit scarier, that you have been, ultimately you've been preparing for it. You've been doing the work. You want to do your purpose work. You've been, you went to school for new things. You've been doing all of these other trainings. You've been learning how to be visible. You've been learning how to market, how to sell, how to deliver your service, your purpose into the world. You've been creating that for a while now, maybe while simultaneously doing a career path that is mainstream. And now you're stepping into something that's a bit different, or you're working in like helping corporate culture transform into new levels of paradigm. Some of my clients do that as well. And it appears more mainstream, but it is totally different. You just have a better into the organizational world of work. And doing transformative work is prosperity frequency. It is. So just knowing that you're doing the work, even if you think that you're having trouble, don't give up is what I say. Don't give up, because you're so close. You're so close. And that's the one thing that kept me going deep into unraveling of the prosperity frequency that I want to line up with all the time. I want to line up with it all the time. And if there's scarcity, it's because I don't have any time to give something that is not lined up with what I want. So like I have scarce time for things that get in my way nowadays. So see how I can integrate that. It's not bad to be scarce in some ways, and I'm going to put it on things that I don't want to get in my way of having the prosperous life that I dream of, and that I'm creating, that is being born into reality. So where am I going with all this? Well, it wasn't easy. And I know that maybe some of you might be having difficulties right now with making money, with delivering your purpose work into the world, with navigating what is going on in the world in relationship to your delivery of your product or service, because there's things going on that you might be impacted by. Don't give up is what I say. There's always a way. And if we can believe in that, and really not just believe it, line up with the frequency of that. And it's not always easy to explain frequency. It has to be really felt. But it feels like clarity. It feels like focus. It feels like alignment. It feels like knowing. And it feels like you're tuned in. It feels like you're in the flow. Like a musician, when they're playing the song, they're just playing it and it's coming to them and their fingers are moving and it's all happening simultaneously. And there's no thinking of the next note. It's just the flow. And that's kind of what frequency, when I say frequency, is like. And you can be in the prosperity frequency, in the flow of that, or you can be in a current and flow of scarcity. But you just have to be aware that you're in it, right? So I invite you to notice. This is the practice that I invite you to notice. Where are you still saying it's not enough? I don't have enough money. I can't do this. I'm not ready. I have to figure this out. Those types of languaging or even actions that follow, right? You might say one thing and do another, So keep noticing where the old paradigm of there's not enough, or I can't do it, shows up in your life. And if you have trouble noticing on your own, ask other people to point it out to you if you start talking about it. And because it's hard sometimes to notice ourselves because we're looking outside. Our eyes are in the front of our heads. We're constantly scanning our environments. We're constantly looking around for solutions. But luckily, some of us, and I'm included in this, I have been looking inside for a long time. I have been practicing looking inside, and I have to close my eyes to do it. And I have to put conscious effort into, making space and time to look inside. And those solutions, those answers are unlimited. There is so much prosperity, wealth, and fortune inside of you. And so I implore you, don't give up, because if you've seen that meme where the guy's digging in a tunnel for gold and he's getting tired, he's getting worn out, feels like he's never going to get there, and then he walks away and he only had like that much left to do and the gold was on the other side. That's kind of like where we're all at. I feel like there's a big shift happening. And some of us have been doing this work for a long time, working on this prosperity, scarcity, shadow integration, I will call it. And it's shifting. So don't give up. And if this resonated with you, I invite you to send me a DM, reach out to me, put something in the comments. Maybe tell me what you have been experiencing in your deep dive with prosperity, with wealth, with money, and with scarcity and the consciousness of not enough. I'd love to hear more, and maybe we can bring it up in another episode. So have a wonderful day. I will see you again soon.